At a crowded railway station in a bustling city, there lived a man most people never noticed, a beggar. Every day he sat near the station platform with a small bowl, asking travelers for a few coins to survive. He had accepted this life as his fate, believing that this was all he could ever be. One hot afternoon, as trains came and went and passengers rushed past, he noticed a tall, well-dressed man walking toward him. His clothes were neat, his shoes polished, and his expression calm but confident. The beggar thought to himself, "This man looks rich. If I ask him, he'll surely give me something good." He stretched out his hand and said, "Please, sir, spare some change." The man stopped and looked down at him, not with disgust, but with curiosity. Then, in a firm yet kind tone, he said something the beggar would never forget. "You always ask from others," said the man, "but have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar was taken aback. "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I have nothing to give. I only ask because I need to survive. How can I give when I have nothing?" The man smiled slightly and said, "If you cannot give, you have no right to ask. Life works on the rule of give and take. I am a businessman, and I only trade when there's value on both sides. Think about that." With those words, the man boarded the train and disappeared. The beggar sat silently on the platform, staring at the tracks long after the train had left. The stranger's words echoed in his mind. "If you cannot give, you have no right to ask." Those words struck deep. That night, he couldn't sleep. The question kept haunting him. What do I have to give? For the next 2 days, he pondered endlessly. I have no home, no money, no possessions, he thought. What could I possibly offer anyone? Then, on the third morning, as he sat near the station, something beautiful caught his eye. Nearby, between the cracks of a wall, some wildflowers were blooming. Small, delicate, but vibrant. Their colors shone brightly, even amidst the dust and smoke of the trains. Suddenly, an idea lit up in his mind. He smiled for the first time in years. He thought, I may not have gold or silver, but I can give beauty. I can give joy. That day, he plucked a few flowers, cleaned them gently, and placed them beside his bowl. When passengers gave him coins, he smiled and offered each of them a flower in return. People were surprised at first. Some smiled, some laughed, and some even said, "This is so thoughtful." They kept the flowers in their hands as they left, their faces a little brighter. From that day on, everything changed. The beggar began picking fresh flowers every morning. He started to greet people with warmth and gratitude, offering them not just flowers, but genuine kindness. And something magical happened. More people started giving him money. He soon noticed a pattern. When he ran out of flowers, fewer people gave him coins. It was as if the universe itself was teaching him that giving creates receiving. One day, as he went about his new routine, he saw a familiar face step off the train, the same tall businessman. Excited, he rushed toward him and said, with a smile, "Sir, today I have something to give you. Please accept these flowers." The man looked pleasantly surprised. He handed the beggar some money, accepted the flowers, and said, "Well done. You've become a businessman like me." Those words changed the beggar's life forever. He stood there for a moment, looking at the flowers in his hands and then at the busy station around him. For the first time in his life, he felt something powerful awaken inside: self-worth. He lifted his face toward the sky and said loudly, "I am not a beggar anymore. I am a businessman." People around him laughed, thinking he had gone mad, but he didn't care. Deep inside, he knew his life had changed that very moment, because his thinking had changed. 6 months later, at that same railway station, two well-dressed men stood near the platform. One of them looked familiar to the other. The first man smiled and extended his hand. "Do you recognize me?" he asked. The businessman looked puzzled. "I'm sorry, I don't think we've met before." The other man chuckled and replied, "Oh, but we have. Not once, but twice. Don't you remember the beggar who asked you for money?" The businessman's eyes widened in surprise. "Wait, you were that beggar, the one I spoke to months ago?" "Yes," he smiled proudly, "that was me. But today, I'm not a beggar anymore. I am the owner of a flower business. I travel across cities to sell flowers now. The simple idea you gave me changed everything." He continued, "I once told you that if you have nothing to give, you have no right to ask. That day, I realized life is not about waiting for help, it's about creating value. I began with a handful of wildflowers, but what truly changed wasn't my work, it was my thinking. I learned that we receive only when we give, and that mindset turned my life around." The businessman smiled warmly and said, "You understood the art of success, the art of giving before receiving. I'm proud of you." The two men shook hands, and as the train rolled away, the former beggar looked out the window with gratitude. This story holds a powerful lesson. Our lives change when our thinking changes. The poor man was never truly poor. Only his thoughts were. He lived believing he was helpless, and the world treated him that way. But the moment he started to give, to add value to others' lives, he discovered his own worth. Success is not about luck, money, or talent. It's about mindset. The rule of life is simple. Whatever you give, multiplies and comes back to you. Give love, and you receive love. Give effort, and you receive progress. Give value, and you receive success. The beggar didn't become rich overnight. He became rich the moment he changed his identity in his mind. He stopped calling himself a beggar and started believing he was a businessman, and that belief shaped his reality. So remember this: you are not limited by your circumstances. You are only limited by your thoughts. Change your thinking, and your life will follow. Because success doesn't start in your hands, it starts in your mind.